All right, so the Winter Classic teams have been announced, and yet again, they do not include the Colorado Avalanche. What does this team need to do for Mr. Bettman to get them into this game? Can they do anything? We'll discuss. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, LLPN_Avalanche on Twitter X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram, and Threads. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. And be sure you are subscribed to our subtext. Link to that is in the show notes below, because when you do, you become one of our very special insiders. Chat with Kyle and I one-on-one, and we read your opinions and thoughts on everything Avalanche on this very podcast. All right, sir. A couple fun things we're going to get to today. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the rundown. A new sports streaming service between some of the big wigs in the sports world. Does it mean anything? And with the Florida Panthers unveiling that very, very nice, Kyle's in love with it. New threads. Do the Avs need to do something like that? Spice things up a little bit. So we'll get to that in the next segments. But where we're going to start today, sir, is the teams for the Winter Classic were announced, and we got the Chicago Blackhawks will be playing at home on Wrigley Field against the St. Louis Blues. And there's a number of ways I want to go with this, but we'll start with Avalanche related. And am I a little bit shocked that the Avalanche to this point have not gotten a Winter Classic? Yes, they have had outdoor games. I get that. The Winter Classic is the one that people really focus in on because so much attention is paid to that one. It's typically New Year's Day. It's just, there's so much fanfare around it. And I wouldn't even care if it was a home or away game. I generally wouldn't care. Be nice if it was a home game, but even if they were the team right now that was in Wrigley Field, I would still be okay with that. I'm a little bit surprised with the success that the Avalanche have had, with the stars that they have. They are a star-studded team that they have on their roster, and that's what fans want to see. I am a little surprised that they haven't got one till now. And when it's the Chicago Blackhawks, a division rival, the league didn't look at this and say, like, well, let's put one of the best teams in the division against them. They went with a middle-of-the-road St. Louis Blues team, which we've already had this matchup in a Winter Classic.
And see, the thing that really gets me about this matchup, this would be a primed matchup for the Avalanche, because we are following now. This is no knock to either team, but Vegas and Seattle drew astonishingly low numbers when it came to the Winter Classic.
They did.
So what better way to salvage your shining jewel of an outdoor spectacle of the Winter Classic than put let's not really call the Avalanche a classic team. They haven't been around for that long, right, in the grand scheme of things, but they have a laundry list of stars. Like, you get your Edmonton Oilers outdoor games yearly. It's going to happen. The Edmonton Oilers will be outside in the Heritage Classic, the Winter Classic. They'll find themselves in a stadium series. You never know. But when it comes to putting on talent, like, yes, you're going to get Bedard, but then you're going to get what? Taylor Hall? Is that going to put butts in seats? And then when it comes to the Blues haven't caught eyeballs since they won the Cup. They don't even play Gloria anymore. So what are we watching the Blues for? So yes, this would have been a perfect Avalanche Blues, and play the old clips of Roenick and Waugh going back and forth and really kind of put this rivalry, kind of get it going again. Like, this is the future of the league and what the league is now, between Bedard and the Avalanche, this was a perfect setup. I don't care if they play on an iceberg floating in the ocean. I don't care where it's played. This would have been a perfect matchup for the Avalanche.
Yeah, I mean, I get the Chicago part of it. Bedard is the he's the future poster boy. I think it's a little early to just continue to put him at the forefront of everything right now with how many stars this league has. I'm more of the mind of let's let him build to that point and not force him up that mountain. Let's let him grow to climb that mountain organically, but we're forcing him there. And I get that. I get it. And it's because of what, for the youth fans, they want that. They are so connected to Conor Bedard right now because he's not that much older than they are.
Yeah.
So from that aspect, I'm not that surprised that Chicago is in it. I would have maybe waited another year or two before he's really, because you want to see him when he's kind of dominating the league. And right now he's just the guy that potentially could dominate the league. So I want to see him, and trust me, he's going to get a handful of these going down the road. But for the opponent, for the average fan, you go to an average. I don't want to say just a fan that doesn't really watch hockey day in and day out. The casual fan, tell them to name 3 players on the St. Louis Blues. And I'm sorry, I don't mean that as a slight to the Blues, but I don't, outside of Jordan Binnington, I think they might even be hard pressed to name him. So what do you like? What's your angle for this game? You want eyes on this game, and you'll get the eyes for Bedard. And I put up a post. I'm like, man, if he's injured, gotta help the league for this game, because you thought the ratings for Vegas and Seattle was going to be bad. People are just going to be like, he's not playing the outdoor game. Who's there to watch? It doesn't compute for me. So.
And see, you mentioned the casual fan. This is 2024. I think the casual fan is dead because the way you access hockey now, you're watching your team. If I wanted to watch my team, I'm going to watch my team. It's not like when we grew up, when you're just hoping and praying the Avalanche are on ABC, Fox, or you're just catching whatever game of the week is on. Hockey a little bit smarter. Hockey fans are fans of their hockey team and a passing interest of whoever rolls into town. So the Conor Bedard thing, yes, they have eyes on that. The Blues, nobody cares about the Blues, and half of the Blues fans care about the Blues. They're not the same. There's no storyline with this team. Bennington's not even that good, but everybody knows him because they hate him. And it's like, I don't understand the rationale unless they're expecting the Blues to come out with because they do good jerseys in these special games outdoors. But other than that, when you watch the Blues, there's nothing to excite you and say, this is our spectacle of outdoor winter hockey on New Year's Day. Sit down and watch this. There's nothing about the Blues that warrants me turning that game on.
And the other part I want to bring up is like we've had this game. Like, what is the league doing here in how they decide who's playing this game? Why didn't anybody, like, when this was brought up, someone said, like, let's change things up a little bit here. I put up on Twitter, if you follow us on there, there's been 2 seasons that have been missed with COVID and a lockout where they were not able to play this game. So this will be the 16th game that they've actually played of the Winter Classic. And because these are 2 teams that have already played in it multiple times, there will have been 16 teams that have played in it. So for 16 years, all you can muster is half of the league's teams. That doesn't compute for me. And that and even expand this outside of the Avalanche fan base and us being, Avalanche fans. There's half the league's fans who have not been able to experience.
No, and you're right. You just froze right there, and that's something that is a valid point. You talk about casual hockey fans. There's a whole portion of fan bases that don't get to be proud of their team and say this was our special Winter Classic moment. And honestly, I think it's a little extra gift to give to the Stanley Cup champion you get an automatic berth into the Winter Classic next year.
Hmm.
Really just kind of spice it up. And if you want to do a Stanley Cup rematch or a storyline in the last year's season, like that will be a good carryover and draw eyes to the game where you're not getting these. Like you mentioned, if Bedard's injured, this is going to be just a bust of a matchup. And you thought Seattle and Vegas was a bad draw. This will be worse.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish my point before my internet decided to go wonky. Being this is the 16th year, technically you could have had all 32 teams in. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm not saying you need to change up every single year where it's fresh teams, but to only have half the league's teams in at 16 years in, you should be higher than that. You really should be higher than that. And you really should be taking into account, sure, star power, but also standings and where teams are. And to throw these two teams in the mix, a bottom of the barrel team and a mid-level at best team right now, like it's another reason why this sport kind of struggles to spread its wings and expand the fan base, because what they're going to tune into is maybe not the best game that they're going to see. And maybe things can change for the Blues in the offseason if they, bring in some players. I get that, the roster will be different next year for both of these teams, but we're not expecting much from Chicago for another couple years. There's so many questions around this. It's a little bit head scratching. I don't know, man. So it's frustrating, but despite all that, I will still watch it. and I came around to the idea of Vegas and Seattle. When I first heard about that,
I did too.
I was like that, there's other teams that are deserving. There's other teams that have been in this league longer that haven't had the Winter Classic, but I kind of came around to it and I thought it was a great setting. But what does that tell you? Like, you had the defending Stanley Cup champion and the newest team in the league, which usually is a hot commodity come, jersey sales and things like that. But what they put out there was like, okay, yeah, Vegas has some names, but Seattle really doesn't. And people didn't tune into it. So, and they turn around and put one of the biggest names in Conor Bedard, which I get. We will see. We will see how much of a draw he really is in only his second season. Remains to be seen. All right, so let's take our first break here. And then, like we said in the beginning, the Florida Panthers coming out with those very slick threads. Do the Avalanche need to do something similar? Talking a lot about the youth of youth fan base. They like this stuff. So should the Avs kind of dip into that? We'll talk about that coming up next. First, let's hear from Indeed, because we're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed, because if you need to hire, you need Indeed. And Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to recent Indeed survey. So visit Indeed.com/locked on right now. And if you need to hire, then you need Indeed. Also brought to you by Robinhood. And did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss, and limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% match on transfer is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered brokered dealer. All right, all that out of the way. Now let's move on to what we were saying about the Florida Panthers. If you haven't seen these things, Florida Panthers seem to do jerseys right, with their reverse retros that were beloved, like those tropical ones that they did, and now they come out with, what are they calling this thing? Vamos Gatos is their. If you haven't seen this, just go check it out because it is slick. It is really. I want you. I just talk, you want to gloat about these because you were going on about it. You love these things.
Yeah, and I think Tampa Bay, the Lightning, they kind of set the tone for these alternate thirds just a little bit earlier, where they did like the pirate themed Lightning jerseys, and it's like the skull and crossbones. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then the Panthers come out and drop this on a Wednesday, and they say, here, how about the coolest jersey you've ever seen in the NHL? You see stuff like this in like AHL, USHL, but this it looks like Rainforest Cafe in a jersey.
That's a very good analogy.
And you look at it and it's like, that's the Florida Panthers, and you look more into it and you're visually drawn into the details, and it's doing its job. And guess what? We're all talking about the Florida Panthers on a Wednesday. You're sharing it, you're sending it to your friends like, isn't this crazy? I hate this, I love this. It's been so long since the Avalanche have done anything like this. The Alvin and the Chipmunks jersey for I believe that was the Air Force game. I think that was
yeah. Okay.
The big where it looks like Alvin.
It was the Air Force game.
And when it comes
I love it. They're so bad they're good.
Yeah, it's take it or leave it. But when it comes to the Avalanche in general, you see all these other teams doing these cool out of the box, because this is the last year with Adidas. You're going to Fanatics next year.
Is that next year? I thought it was already started. No, you might be right. You might be right. I think they had one more year with Adidas. Yeah.
So the reverse retros are going away. This is everybody's kind of shadow dropping these cool third alternates. When was the last time the Avalanche have played in the old Rocky throwbacks?
Yeah. Well, they typically do those for home division games, but has it been that long since we've had a home division game? You can look at the schedule. It's been a little while.
And we've been playing with those since Duchesne was here.
Yeah. So that's true.
They're not cool anymore. It's not like something special. I know they always put the graphic up there like divisional matchup and, we're wearing the alternates. Nobody cares. And I feel like the Avalanche have gotten really stale. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. They have the best logo when it comes to, you look at it, that's a hockey team, that's the Avalanche. It encompasses everything. They have one of the better jerseys in the league. But when it comes to being cool and trendy and different and standing out and becoming a lightning rod of hockey interest, the Avalanche are kind of dropping the ball.
Well, you'll get a lot of sales for Florida just for this. Doesn't matter the name on the back. People will buy, they're popular players, but they're going to buy it because it's their favorite player on a new and cool looking design. And for the Avalanche, it's just like, well, my little Johnny doesn't have a Cale Makar jersey yet, so I'm going to get him a Cale Makar or a Nathan McKinnon jersey. They're not getting ahead of, all right, let's come out with something new, and that's what the selling point will be. And I'm a little bit like in between on if they should do this or not. Like I get it. Like, again, we're talking about Conor Bedard in the beginning, and it's what the kids like. You have to put that into account here and say like, and that's kind of what they did. You mentioned it was, good mentioning the outdoor game. on the Air Force Base, because that jersey, I remember reading an article and they designed it kind of with that in mind, with a little bit younger demographic. Like, what would they like? I don't know where they came up with that one, but it was different. It
Yep.
was different. Like you looked at that and you're like, what team is that? And then when someone's like, that's the Colorado Avalanche, you're like, whoa, that's a complete detachment from what you're known for. But I like that. I like something different, not something that resembles anything that you've done before. So it's just odd. I wasn't expecting any other jersey releases this year. It was this kind of like just odd for Florida to just unleash this now, and
Well,
Tampa to do the same thing a couple weeks ago. Just seems
and
weird that teams are doing it now. So if the Avalanche have something planned that we don't know about, please release it, because I think it'd be fun.
and you've seen, I don't know if they're officially selling these yet, but Anaheim for the Offspring night. I don't know if you've been seeing that, but
No.
it's the blend of the Anaheim Ducks logo and the Offspring logo. They're going to have the Offspring there playing a show.
Wow.
It's so sick. The social media that they've been doing with it, like they've been having the band like playing,
Mhm.
it's
Oh,
recreating like
wow.
music videos and stuff. And like that, if that's what you're going to do, like music collabs, like you could have done a Blink 182, like
Yeah.
like there's so many things. Like I understand, by the way, I hear everybody saying there's Grateful Dead night. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
But it's a warm-up. Like you
Right.
fully
Yeah.
embrace these things. Like get out there, get on socials, because the Avalanche aren't making an impact anywhere, because we talk about all the time they're more West Coast, not a lot of people watch, they're a smaller market. You have to stand out in this league. And you mentioned the younger demographic. Hey, by the way, they're the ones who are buying things.
Yeah.
And if you want these
Yeah.
teams to make some money and to grow, you have to get on these younger guys that want to be cool and trendy. And hockey jerseys are like super trendy right now. Everybody's
Mhm.
buying them. They have nothing to do with hockey, but they just like the look. Get
Mhm.
on top of the get on that bandwagon and get your jersey out there, and people look at it and say, "What's this about?" Look at the Avalanche, new fan, new money. That's business, baby.
Yeah, that's why I said, like, I'm torn on it, because I totally agree with that side of it. And then the other side of me is like the traditionalist, and it's like this is what we're known for. And yeah, you do a little one off for when you have an outdoor game, but the Avs, we talked about it, the Avs don't like to change a lot. They've fine tuned things here and there over the course of the years, but a massive overhaul you're not going to see. Fine, if you want to do, I think they do need a new third jersey design. You're right. They've had this one for a long time. They don't want to mess with the traditional home and away. I don't want them to,
Nope.
but maybe we need something new for a third jersey design, that for if you're going to keep it around for a little while, maybe maybe they haven't come up with something new that they like better than what they have. But you're right about like this, what the Panthers have done. You look, we're jersey nerds. Like we love this stuff. I know there's some people that say like I don't care, and that's completely fine. If it's not for you, it's not for you. I get that. But for the people who love this stuff, you look at the minor league teams, the stuff that they come up with is
Incredible.
creative, and it's almost like an NHL team. It's almost like amateurish for an NHL team to do it, but some might, and I think that'll be the litmus test on if someone does it. I don't want to say that what the Panthers have done is amateurish, but it is completely different.
Yep.
You really don't see something like this. So I'm interested to see how it does sales wise. And it's a copycat league. And not only is it a copycat league in play style and on the ice, but stuff like this too.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm happy to see an arms race of trendy and cool and different in hockey.
Absolutely. All right, let's get one more break in, and then this new sports streaming service. Does it mean anything to you, especially Avalanche fans? I think they want to know if they can get their altitude with this. So let's take a little quick break, and we'll be back right after this. All right, Game Time app. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event, because Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you, with killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seats, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Some of the things that we love about this app: you can see the view from your seats before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in pricing shows your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal before you check out, and you can buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account and redeem the code Locked On, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Real quick, because I forgot to do this in the first segment, we did have some subtext people weigh in on the Winter Classic, so I want to give them their due. Vargar, the Avs have never been the NHL's darling, nor will they ever be. Nate doesn't get the NHL media or league push that you'd think a young, dynamic Art Ross Cup winner would get. I think he's getting it this year. I think up until this year, I think he had a point, but so far this year, I think he's getting more love. Makar should be the attraction. If Kale was on Chicago, Boston, or Pittsburgh, Vegas, or Toronto, he would be canonized by a saint by now. He also says Bedard is the new chosen one on a darling team, 100%. They want to be the face, and they want him to win the Classic, just like Sid did in the powder blue jersey days. And St. Louis is their pigeon from a large market and continue the incessant quote-unquote rivalry game theme that the league can't let go of. That's the same reason they can't go back to the 1 versus 8 playoff format. It's just stupid.
Just like that Vegas Seattle Kraken rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody remember those classic matchups?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then Amy says, I think it's only the Bedard factor and then the big market location. I don't think this game offers anything to the casual fan. Kind of, what we were talking about. The NHL keeps showing us that they lack creativity and innovation to grow the game. Could not disagree with anything you said there, Amy. Very, very well put. Very well said.
Yeah, if you're asking the NHL to do something forward thinking and give at least 30 seconds of thought to a matchup, what are you talking about?
All right. What we'll round things up tonight is, or today, or this morning, whenever you're listening. Sorry. We're recording at night, so that's where my mind goes. So there's a new sports streaming service coming to an area near you in the fall, we've been told. It's kind of a big deal, but when you really look at it, it's like, but it is a starting point. And what it is ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery are teaming up to give you a brand new sporting event experience. Basically, what you're getting is a brand new app where those 3 entities, everything that they already offer you on cable, they're combining it in an app. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop for what they offer. And it's like, all right, when you first see it, you're like, wow, ESPN, Fox, Warner Brothers Discovery, like they're going to give you, they're not giving you anything new. This is not like, Disney Plus coming out and then them creating brand new shows that you can just get on Disney Plus. This is stuff that if you already have cable, you already can get. And you have, I guess the one thing that it does do is stop you from leaving one app and going into, say, like ESPN Plus to go watch a game. Everything's going to be housed in there. For that, okay. But for me, I say I'm not that lazy where I can't hit a couple buttons and go to a different app to watch a game. Is that what we've boiled this down to, that we can't leave one app and go into another to watch a game?
I'll tell you, I have two little things right here. If that's such a big problem for you, let me also pitch you on this idea that's called cable.
It's what it is.
It's all your channels are right there. You just hit 2 buttons. And don't complain to me that that's a problem. I used to have to put aluminum foil on my rabbit ear antenna to watch the Sabres and the Stars and that Stanley Cup final, like to position it just the right way. And I would have to adjust it every commercial break. So don't tell me the way we have it now is too complicated and too much for you, because back in my day, no. Yeah. But it's okay. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not changing the game, like you said, unless you can have access to the libraries. Like you can, but if you're not getting the library aspect of everything,
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you're getting, I mean, ESPN Plus is going to be included in everything that comes with that. So you will be getting, for like 30 for 30s and things like that. So I mean, you get a good amount. I'm not trying to minimize what you get from it. You don't get anything additional. And again, like you said, you don't get anything that you're not already getting if you have cable. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't open things up to all of a sudden now you can tap into other regions. And that's where I think this downfall is. Like we are in an age where like the world has gotten smaller and there's fan bases across the country. They want to be able to go watch those games on in other markets seamlessly. And you can do that and stuff with ESPN Plus. So fine. If that's if you're a fan of another team that's outside of a market and you can use ESPN Plus, but blackouts restrictions still apply if you're in market. You got to get rid of stuff like that. And if you're an Avalanche fan listening to this, like, oh, can I get my Avalanche games now? No, because NBC Comcast is not part of this. It's just those three. So you are still out of luck if you're a Comcast subscriber in the Denver market. You can't get it. So again, it's another maybe for a split second, Avalanche fans are like, oh, maybe like my prayers have been answered. Not so much. You still got to go the other ways that you can in Fubu or satellite to get altitude.
and see, I think you hit on it right there. The way to make this a game-changing app is to eliminate blackouts entirely. Local blackouts. I mean, I made this a point and a paper in school about this because I live in a portion of the country that the Avalanche can play 5 teams that I cannot watch on television legally. I have to, and I don't live close enough to get that regional broadcast. So I'm in this weird gray area and I can't watch Avalanche games. And if I'm living in Denver and I don't have access to altitude through my cable provider, I also cannot watch Avalanche games to no fault to me.
Right.
So they must get rid of these blackouts. If they can open the doors on how, if I want to watch a Blue Jackets game because I want to, if they will allow it where I can watch a Blue Jackets game, or if I want to watch a Colorado Rockies game, or if I want to watch a New York Knicks game, if I can do all of those through the app, then you have me.
Yeah. And basically what this boils down to is it's just their way of going direct to consumer and making more money, because them going through, whoever your cable provider is, they have to, that's where all these deals come in, and, they're losing some money by doing that. So this cuts out the middleman, which is your cable provider, and they give it directly to you. And then they just bring in some more money. So they're not offering you anything that you don't already have. If you want it all in a nice little neat little package, there you go. We don't know what it's called. We don't know what it's going to cost, although there are rumors out there that it might be in the $50 a month range. That's on top of what you're already paying. So I think it's a start.
We're getting back to cable.
Yeah, that's where it is. I don't think it's a horrible idea, but there's nothing there for me right now where I'm going to pick this up. But yeah, if we can eliminate blackouts and you give me regional coverage across the country that I can just tap into whenever I want, then we're onto something. But I think we're a little bit still ways off for that, which is surprising because that's what people want. And I know that's all contract related and you just can't flip the switch and do that. But whenever it's going to have to be like one at a time when contracts are negotiated. They have to be that needs to be in every single contract that is from here on out. Eliminate blackouts. It's a little ridiculous at this day and age, when the information age and the computer age and the streaming age, that we're doing blackouts. Doesn't make any sense. So,
to quote the wise prophet Matthew McConaughey, it'd be really cool if you did.
To quote Matthew McConaughey, all right. Let's do it. All right. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, Avs in action against the Carolina Hurricanes. We will be discussing that. Hopefully they can get a win in regulation. That would be nice on this road trip. Let's start it. Start it off. All right. Thanks for listening, tuning in to Locked On Avalanche and making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. He's Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. See you guys tomorrow.